Hey there. As successful entrepreneurs, as coaches running our own business, whatever it is, the work you're doing in this world, there are critical questions, 3 of them, that you must ask yourself almost every day, probably weekly, definitely several times a month. Because you see, as entrepreneurs, or when we have our own business, we are always working on different projects. Maybe your project is creating your list building funnel so you can generate new leads. Maybe the project you're focusing on is all the different ways you can market and generate awareness so you can find and attract those leads. Maybe your project is creating new content. Maybe your project is doing your first ever series of videos or your first live event, or maybe you're launching a new program. Whatever this project is that you're working on, you must ask yourself these 3 questions, because the power is in the debrief. I want you to just to stamp that in your mind. Maybe have a Post-it note that you put on your computer or on your wall, because the power is in the debrief. We often focus on the preparation, the research, putting together the project, executing the project, and then once we've done it, we go to the next project. And then we go to the next project. And the power is in the debrief. So you should always ask yourself these 3 questions anytime you do any kind of project. And I was just meeting with my team. We meet every Thursday. Back in the day when I first started, it was just Kate and I, right? 2 business partners, as Kate calls us, 2 little beans on the org chart. And it was just us. So we just had to ask ourselves these questions. Over the last 15 years, we've grown and expanded an entire team to help us run and continue to scale this business and this company. So we were just on this team meeting, and we have this program that we're in the middle of delivering, and we are constantly in research mode. We're always researching, and we're always asking these 3 questions. Now, the power is in the debrief after every project, but if you have an extended project that's taking a longer time frame, you can even ask these 3 questions in the midst of the project. And here's the 3 questions. The first question is, what's working well? What's really going well? Celebrate that. Acknowledge it. Be outrageous with acknowledging it. Give gratitude for it. Really look at, what am I doing about that thing that's going really well? And definitely do more of that. Wash, rinse, repeat. Keep that going. The second question is, what's not going so well? A lot of people would prefer to put their head in the sand and ignore that, because they may not know how to change it or what to do about it. You may not know what to do about it, but simply asking the question, what's not going well? By acknowledging that without having to have any solution in mind, you create this space for creativity, resources, and new awareness to start showing up in your world. So the second question is, what's not going really well? You might list that out for your project. And then the third question, and this is my favorite question, what will I do differently next time? It's what my team and we call it the do differently statement. And so in every project, we're always saying, oh, here's what I'll do differently. And so now myself and our team, we actually bring that idea to the rest of us, and I bring it to my coach. I bring it to my mastermind. We bring it to each other as a team, and we can brainstorm and start looking at it from different angles. So what will I do differently next time based on my experience? Because everything, being an entrepreneur, you're always researching. You take action, you research, you do differently. You celebrate what is, you do differently, and you continue to grow. And when you look back over the last week, the last month, the last quarter, the last year, all of a sudden, all those baby steps have added up, and you've had monumental shifts and big change in your business. So always ask yourself these 3 questions, because the power is in the debrief. What project are you working on right now that you can pause and ask yourself these 3 questions? Or what project did you just complete and now you're already in the next project, but you didn't do the debrief? Make sure you give yourself time and space to do the debrief. And for any project, like for our launches, for our big promotions, when we had our live event, before that project ever started, we scheduled the debrief on our calendar. Make it be an integral part of your planning, and it'll make for better growth in the long run. Have fun with those 3 questions.